Hey everyone, Eric Thompson here. Hope that you are doing well. Welcome back to the channel to this second installment of the BTSD book-to-screen differential concerning Twilight, the very, very successful series of books and films. And so, without wasting any time, you don't need to hear more of me, but you do need to hear more of what Jenny has to say. So I'm going to let Jenny take over, and she's going to take you through the whole video. So Jenny, why don't you get us started with Book 2, Film 2, New Moon. Take it away. Thanks.
Hey y'all, Jenny here, and today we are doing Book 2 of the Twilight series, New Moon. Voila, my books. Woo, so pretty, right? Anyways, gosh, there are too many of those in there. So, doing New Moon today, but first things first, Cameron, get down, silly boy. Sorry, first things first, from the last video, Bobby Joe is my dog. She was getting into things, so, didn't want her knocking over the camera or anything, and that was Cameron, my kitten. His brother Shadowfax is actually in a basket on the other side of the room over here. But back to business. Let's start with our first question. Do you think the movie is a just representation of the book? With this one, no, not really. They kind of screwed up big time on New Moon. They didn't put in a lot of the explanations that they should have. And so on. I can go on forever with this book. Question number 2, though, we'll jump right to that. What, if anything, did you miss in the movie that was in the book? So, what was in the book that I missed from the movie? Quite a bit, and there's a lot with this, and some things, well, there's just a lot. So, we'll start. Cameron? Cat? Where was I going with this? Got it. Okay, so, things that I missed from the movie. Okay. So, first things first, the emotion in the book was so intense. It was insane. I was bawling my freaking eyes out. And in the movie, they lost a lot of that emotion. It wasn't there for me at all. Especially when Edward leaves Bella. That emotional scene was a lot more awkward than it was depressing and sad. They did do pretty good, though, with the changing of the months, but they did leave out a few things. Well, I guess they kind of left out some more of the emails that Bella was writing to Alice about everything. Yeah, they kind of showed it a little bit, but I think they could have done a little better with that. Maybe. The other thing was with Jacob's change and the movie with Mike. Boys are playing in the basket. Whatever. Anyways, that movie scene was weird. And Jacob came off as such a huge jerk. He doesn't come off as that big of a jerk in the book at all. So I was really upset about that. I could not believe that. And in the movie, they don't show, I don't think they show his symptoms of his change properly. They do it a little bit too early. It just kind of drove me a little bit insane. Anyways, the other thing was when he does become a werewolf, they don't explain why the werewolves run around shirtless. It's just kind of like, ooh, look at that. He's got no shirt on. Ooh. You know, I don't know. Yeah. It's kind of silly. You watch the movie and you're like, what the heck are they just running around with no shirts on? It's raining outside and it's Washington, and if you're from Washington State, you know that, especially that time of year when it rains, it's freaking cold. You don't just run around with no shirt on. That's insane. Yeah, kind of drove me a little bit crazy. Another thing that really irritated me was the scene with Bella and Jessica at the movies. When they're leaving the movie and heading over to the McDonald's down the street, she stops and sees the guys, you know, by the motorcycles. Well, in the movie, she thinks that she sees the people that attacked her the year before, and they're all sitting outside in front of this bar, and she does not go and go for a joyride like she does in the movies. She goes up to them, talks to them, realizes it's a horrible idea, and turns around and goes back. But in the process, you know, here's Edward speaking to her, you know, through her subconscious or whatever it is, her delusion. And yeah, cool, the thing in the movie where, you know, you kind of see the little see-through ghost thing of Edward. That's pretty neat, but it's a little more in her head than it is actually outside of it, and so that just kind of irritated me, especially the joyride. That was so stupid. Like, what was the point of that? It was ridiculous. And why would Jessica just stand around and wait for her while she goes on a freaking joyride? No, she does not go on a joyride. That drove me nuts. If they wanted to put a little bit more suspense in the movie, they could have done something different than a stupid joyride. And I think they could have done a little bit more with the interactions between Bella and Jacob during her kind of sort of recovery time when they're all working on the bikes that she found that is going to be her little adrenaline rush or whatever. That definitely could have been done a little bit better. I mean, I really liked, you could really get into the emotion in the book between the two of them with some of their commentary throughout all of that, and you missed out on some of that in the movie. I could go on forever, but those are some of the main points. One last one, the Volturi scene. Totally different than in the book. I guess, you know, they did need some suspense somewhere and some action or whatever, so they decided to use the Volturi as that action. But in the book, it was definitely a lot more calm than that. No one was thrown across the room. But I guess if you're going to put action anywhere, it's the Volturi. So, but I kind of missed a lot of the emotion and a lot of the interactions that weren't shown in that movie. I think that was the worst done movie out of all 5 of them. Yeah, because there's part 2. So all 5 of them, I think that was the worst done movie out of them all. So let's jump to question number 3 then. Which did you like more, the book or the movie? For me, this is definitely I love the book so much more than the movie. The movie kind of sucked, in my opinion. I mean, I still love all 5 of the movies, but out of all of them, I'll just skip right over that one. I'll read the book and then watch the 3rd, 4th, and 5th movies versus actually watching the movie. But I guess that is it. The book is awesome. The movie drives me crazy. But I will see you all next time with book 3, Eclipse, and that should be a fun one. I do have to touch up on it a little bit though, but I will be back to give you my opinion on book 3. Alright, we'll see you then.